Welcome to the C-Score Top 100. Today we're counting down numbers 100 through 76 of the greatest special teams units in NFL history, dating all the way back to 1933. Because modern stats are much cleaner regarding special teams, you will see this list skew toward recent decades, but that does not minimize the importance special teams have had over the decades. We built this ranking using C-Score, this channel's custom metric that evaluates teams way deeper than just their final record. The C-Scores for each of these units will appear at the end of this video. You can find a further breakdown of how C-Score works in the description below. These entries are flashpoints and will not cover every single aspect of the team in question. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Let's get right into it. While the 2009 Bucks weren't a great football team by any means, ending the season at 3-13, they found some light in their special teams, particularly in the return game, finishing 4th in punt return average and 1st in kickoff return average. Leading the way was Clifton Smith and his league-best 29.1 kick return average and a top-notch 10.1 punt return average. He never scored a touchdown himself, but Sammy Strother brought home a kickoff while Michael Spurlock brought one in off a punt. These 49ers didn't stand out in any one particular area of special teams. Ray Wersching provided a steady presence at kicker, drilling every field goal attempt within 40 yards. Dana McLemore took a step up as a return man, particularly as a punt returner. He cleared 900 total return yards with a touchdown. Opposing teams had some difficulty making their kicks against the Niners too. Perhaps in this instance, an assist should be given to the below sea level conditions of Candlestick Park. Landing a first-team All-Pro return man sure helps out the special teams. Jamal Agnew did just that for these Lions in his rookie season, buoyed by 2 punt return touchdowns. Proving he wasn't solely a product of the mile-high air, kicker Matt Prater made 7 field goals from 50 yards plus. As a team, the Lions were better than a 4-to-1 ratio of punts inside the 20-yard line against touchbacks. Kick and punt coverage wasn't off the charts good, but more than respectable and well above average. Buffalo had 1 star each at kick returner and punt returner. Leotis McKelvin nearly hit 1,500 kick return yards with a 28.2 average and a touchdown, while Roscoe Parrish was doing the damage on the punt return side, leading the league with a 15.3 yard average while scoring a touchdown of his own. The kickoff coverage team was second best in the league, allowing just 19.8 yards per return, due in no small part to Bobby April, one of the few coaches who can claim the mantle of legendary special teams coach. Avery Williams started taking over return duties from Cordero Patterson. No small feat here given Patterson's lengthy resume, especially as a kick returner. As a team, Atlanta led the league in punt return average. Younghoe Koo was still in his kicking groove, and Bradley Pinion was hitting nearly 3/4 of his kickoffs for touchbacks, while getting only 2 touchbacks on 62 punts. Then there are the 2 blocked punts, one for a touchdown that almost completed a comeback, and one that led to a touchdown in a 1-point win. For a team that was pretty darn good at everything, at least during the regular season, special teams were no exception. Despite being on the wrong end of a record-setting field goal by the Saints' Tom Dempsey, the Lions performed well with their own kicking, with Errol Mann drilling 3 50-plus yard field goals, not such a common occurrence at the time. Bobby Williams was good in the kick returning department, while future Hall of Famer Lem Barney excelled at punt returning, each of them nabbing a touchdown. No one returner did the work for these Packers. Ken Ellis and John Staggers each returned a punt for a touchdown, while no one player accounted for half their kick returns, with Ike Thomas landing at 50.1% of their yardage. Chester Markle wasn't the accuracy king, but he led the league in field goals made and attempted, a staggering 48 kicks in just 14 games, which got him Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, and a 6th place finish in MVP voting. And to top it off, they were 3rd best at kick return average allowed. Another team with a two-headed monster doing returns. Niall Davis with a 28.6 yard return average and a touchdown, Anthony Thomas at 11.9 punt return average and a touchdown. Cairo Santos showed out especially for an undrafted rookie, and Dustin Colquitt was his usual steady self, the two of them at kicker and punter respectively. Another coach worthy of the crown of legendary special teams coach, Dave Toub, headed this group, and this will not be his last appearance. Is Legatron the greatest nickname ever for a kicker? Perhaps the perfect nickname for a kicker. This wasn't a high-scoring Rams team, but Greg Zuerlein connected on all but 2 of his field goals while getting 2/3 of his kickoffs into the end zone for touchbacks. Then you have first-team All-Pro punter Johnny Hecker. The return game was strong, but the coverage units were even better. 9th in the league in kickoff return average allowed, but 1st in punt returns, allowing a mere 79 yards on 30 returns. Bruce Harper got his hands on a lot of returns this season, leading the league with 55 kickoff returns and 1,280 yards. He added 378 yards on 30 punt returns, including a touchdown on a league best that season, 82-yard run back. The Jets were also able to trot out first-team All-Pro Pat Leahy at kicker, the AFC's leading scorer, and the only member of the conference to clear 100 points on the season. Kick and punt coverage left just a little to be desired, though, anchoring this team just outside the top 90. It's one thing to lead the league in kickoff return average, as the 49ers did this season. It's another thing to lead it by nearly 3 yards per return. The crown jewel was a 97-yard touchdown from Lenny Lyles. For good measure, they were 2nd in punt return average, a full 1.3 yards ahead of 3rd place, with Abe Woodson leading the league in punt return yardage. Tommy Davis pulled double duty as a kicker and a punter, and the coverage teams weren't too shabby either. Barry Sanders joined the Lions in 1989, and that was a big deal, of course, but so too did Mel Gray. He was only the primary kick returner this season, though, as Walter Stanley led the league with his 13.8-yard punt return average. Eddie Murray wasn't called upon too often, just 21 field goal attempts, but he made 20 for the league's top percentage and made it to the 2nd-team All-Pro. The coverage units were also strong, tied for 7th in yards per punt return allowed and 2nd in kick returns. There are a few topics we can bring up with this Packers special teams units, but let's face it, it begins and ends with Desmond Howard. He didn't just set the NFL record for punt return yardage in a single season with 875. He shattered it, surpassing former record holder Fulton Walker by over 26%. To this day, he remains ahead of the pack by over 25%. 3 of his league-leading 58 returns were house calls. He added 460 kick return yards, returned another punt for a touchdown in the playoffs, before adding a kick return for a touchdown to seal Super Bowl 31. He remains the only special teams player to be named Super Bowl MVP. We've got another legendary special teams coach in Joe Avezzano. 13 seasons with the Cowboys, winning special teams coach of the year 3 times, along with 3 Super Bowl wins. It is nice, though, having Deion Sanders returning punts for you. Even at 31, Primetime led the way in return average and touchdowns with 2. That coverage team was something else, though. Dallas was best in the league at yards per kick return allowed and 3rd best against punts. The Bills' breakout season saw an excellent performance from Scott Norwood. Yes, that Scott Norwood. Before the big miss in Super Bowl 25, Norwood spent the season leading the league with 32 field goals made, exactly 2 per game, while being named the first team All-Pro. Somehow all of that gets left off his resume. Buffalo wasn't overly special in the return game, but they were aces at stopping it. Led by special teams maven Steve Tasker, they were 6th best in punt return average allowed and number 1 in kick return average allowed. Raymond Claiborne had a long career as an NFL cornerback, 15 seasons in fact, and despite making 3 Pro Bowls, he remains highly underrated. His rookie season saw him as a kick returner first, and boy was he good at that too. 869 yards, over 30 yards per return, and 3 touchdowns. Then you had the combination of Stanley Morgan and Mike Haynes running back punts, and it becomes easy to see why this team provided so much danger in the return game. A better kicking game would have brought this ranking so much higher. The Lions have generally had good return men, and one of those starred this season in Eddie Drummond. 41 kick returns, 1,092 yards, 26.6 average, and 2 touchdowns. 24 punt returns, 316 yards, a league-leading 13.2 average, a league-leading 2 touchdowns. He was good for a return touchdown every 4th game. That's pretty good. Nick Harris put more than 1/3 of his punts inside the 20-yard line. And while they didn't kick off much because they didn't score much, they were still 4th best in yards per kick return allowed. Woodley Lewis and Skeet Quinlan are not likely to be known by many, if any, modern football fans, but they were quite the return combo for the Rams this season, with Lewis taking 2 punt returns home for touchdowns. The Rams' kicker was their quarterback, Bob Waterfield, and all he did was lead the league in extra point attempts, extra point makes, and field goal percentage. He was also the team's co-punter alongside the team's primary quarterback, Norm Van Brocklin. Fun times. Both would eventually make the Hall of Fame, and Waterfield was married to Jane Russell. Rookie return dynamos appear to be all the rage, and the Raiders had their guy in George Atkinson. He did it all, leading the AFL in punt returns, 36, punt return yards, 490, touchdowns, 2, and kick return average, 25.1. Their kicker was also a bit well-known, one George Blanda at only 41 years old this season. He led the way in the AFL this season for extra points tried and made, comfortably clearing 100 points scored. They weren't just great at returning punts, they only allowed 5.3 yards per return, the best mark in the league. We've got another 2004 team in short order, and with it another amazing set of return men. Nate Clements was a solid punt returner, a 9.3 average and a touchdown, but his fellow starting corner Terrence McGee was lights out in the kick return game. 1,370 yards, a 26.3 yard average, and 3 touchdowns, including one from 104 yards out. Ryan Lindell was good at field goals, but seemed to struggle on kickoffs, not getting so many touchbacks. But this was by design. Buffalo was 2nd best in the league in yards allowed per return. Our first Super Bowl champion, the 1982 Washington Redskins, played a regular season that was only 9 games long, and that provided for the wonkiest MVP in league history, kicker Mark Moseley. Mark Moseley has more MVPs than Jerry Rice, Reggie White, and Anthony Munoz combined. What a world we live in. He did lead the league in field goals made and field goal percentage, a rather impressive combination. Mike Nelms handled kick and punt return duties admirably, earning a Pro Bowl spot and a second-team All-Pro selection. Lewis Lips sinks ships, at least when he's returning punts. Lips took 36 returns for 437 yards and a league-leading 2 touchdowns. He was also part of a 3-headed monster at kick returner. Gary Anderson, only 26 years old and a full 13 years away from the missed field goal that defined his career, bombed through a league-leading 33 field goals, just missing out on the league lead in points scored with 139, making it to his second Pro Bowl. When you're a return man and your nickname is the Human Joystick, chances are you're pretty darn good. And yeah, Dante Hall in 2002 was pretty darn good. He was excellent with 1,354 kick return yards, a 23.8 yard average, and a touchdown. But he was downright awesome with 390 punt return yards, a 13.4 average, and 2 touchdowns. A 42-year-old Morton Anderson handled kicking duties with aplomb, if not flawless execution. This was Dante Hall's show though, and he was just getting started. It's Bobby Williams and Lem Barney doing their thing in the return game again after witnessing their excellent performance the following season in our number 89 entry. Barney returned far fewer punts, but did so at a 21.2 yard average and a touchdown, while Williams similarly averaged 33.1 yards per kick return, also adding a touchdown. Barney was also the team's punter while making All-Pro as a cornerback. What a stud. Only 31% of all field goal attempts went in against these Lions. 9 makes, 20 misses. In the year 2000, Charlie Rogers just missed 2,000 total return yards. His punt and kick returns combined for 1,992, including a touchdown on a kick return. He was the man for the Seahawk team, handling 87% of all punt returns and 82.5% of all kick returns. Jeff Feagles wasn't bombing his punts away, but that proved strategic, as Seattle was second best in the league at punt return average allowed to go alongside their 4th place finish in kick returns. Here now are the C-scores for these special teams that are ranked 100 through 76. It's pretty tight margins all the way through, with fewer than 4 points separating 100th place from 76th. A handful of plays here or there truly could have shifted the balance one way or another. If you've made it to this point in the video, I can only assume that you liked it. Please prove that notion correct by liking and sharing this video. If you've yet to do so, please consider subscribing to the channel, along with hitting that notification bell. It does the channel a whole lot of good. Let me know your thoughts on this video or anything else you may have on your mind down in the comments section below. Be sure to join us for our next release covering numbers 75 through 51. Thank you once again, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.